Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is Westworld, Season 3, Episode 7, Past Pawn. Not past, not with a T, past, P-A-S-S-E-D. So, kind of a little bit of a different meaning there. Before we get started here, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about joining up, take a look at the very end of the video. You're going to see a video pop up here. Basically, what YouTube does, takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match as best as possible one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. Up here is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, is what's going to be up there. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule that I have up there for all my live streams, and also my social media links are up there as well. So that schedule I also put up on my Facebook page. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and talk amongst yourselves. There we go. Excuse me. Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go on back, watch it, come on back, and this will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. All right. There was a lot of shit that happened here. This is the penultimate episode. So basically, next week is our season finale, season 3. We already know it got a season 4. They just announced that season 4 Westworld has been renewed for season 4 at HBO. So we know that's going to happen here. So how that's going to end, we don't know. Wow. So we saw Musashi or Dolores. I'm just going to call him Dusashi at this point because Dosashi, because that's the easy way of telling them apart at this point. So he's in Jakarta, getting a phone call from Dolores, who has survived her brush with Dolores, actually with Sarek's men. And Dolores is basically telling them that Dolores is going to kill all of them, basically, sacrifice them. And Dosashi is like, that's fine, you know what? And Dolores is basically trying to give him an out, saying, hey, if you work with me to take out Dolores, you won't die, like, she's been wanting us to do. And he's like, no, fuck that, I'm okay. And she goes, okay, well, if that's the case, I've taken, your location and I've spread it out to a lot of different people that want to, meet you. And they should be there fairly shortly. So Dosashi kind of throws his phone down and we see Clementine is in the bar. And Clementine wants to meet him. And she kills all of his guys. And they're exchanging gunfire and everything. And that's when he meets up with, and I'm going to murder her name, Hanaro, basically the woman with the dragon tattoos that was in the Eastworld, I guess they called it at that point. And that was Maeve's right-hand woman there that basically helped her take out the evil guy in that location. And she kills Dosashi and takes his head. Yeah, that was a good opener right there. So throughout this entire thing, we have Caleb reliving being questioned by someone named Dr. Green. And Dr. Green wants him to keep going over what happened during the war, and that we find out that he was in the Crimean War, and that they were basically the U.S. forces were only supposed to be there on the grounds to police things, the normal bullshit routine, when really they're there to fight the war and all this stuff. And they are there to actually find bad guys, is what he said, the worst of the worst. And so the Quants, as Caleb calls them, gives them all the information so that they can find these people. And then they take this drug. It's a limbic drug is what it's called. It's a limbic pharmaceutical they put on their tongue that gets rid of all emotions, so they don't have to feel fear, second guess themselves, all that kind of stuff. And once they've marked their targets, then there's an orbital satellite that basically just sends down a missile that blows up their targets within the city. Yeah, pretty fucked up, quite honestly. So he keeps having flashbacks of Dr. Green recounting what happened with during basically how Francis died, his friend Francis, how Francis died. And then we see, Caleb and Dolores are actually going to Sonora, Mexico, where the facility is. And we find out that this facility, of course, this is the facility where Sarek has his brother at, and all the outliers at, and William's at there too. We also find out through Stubbs and Bernard and Stubbs, that what Dolores had injected William with before they sent him to the facility, that little glitch that we saw when they took his blood and there was a weird protein in it, that was actually a virus to mark the system so that Dolores could find the place and find out where it was at so she could bring Caleb there, because she wants to go there and find Solomon. Remember, I kept talking about what the fuck happened to Solomon? Well, now we know what happened to Solomon. Solomon is actually at that facility in Sonora. And yeah, it's one of those things where she basically wants to get to Solomon so that she can get the last narrative, if you will, from Solomon, the last construct, the last basically the last plan that John Mee, which was Sarek's brother, had created, that he asked Solomon to create. It was the one that got John Mee put into storage. And we also find out what happens to any outliers at this point, because we didn't know if they were killed or what happened, because it was found out that William is an outlier. He is one of the people that the therapy that Caleb went through, the AR therapy, only 1 in 10 people it actually takes with. The other 9 people end up going into cold storage, which is right underneath Solomon. And that's where Jean Mee is as well. Jean Mee is basically in the middle of all of this, frozen. And it's pretty fucked up, quite honestly, is what Sarek has done at this point. So as Dolores and Caleb are going through this facility, he starts remembering more and more of what's going on and his AR conditioning that happened, until he realizes that his unit was being killed by supposedly a Russian insurgent group. And so they found the head of the Russian insurgent group, and he's having flashbacks to this all the time, and Dr. Green asking him what happened during this whole thing, and then having him recount it again because something isn't there. Something's not right the way he's recounting what happened there. And basically, long story short, what ends up happening is that we find out that he and Francis actually made it out of the war, were discharged honorably, were brought back to the world, the United States, and they were used with that app that we saw Cal using all this time by Solomon in order to take out other outliers that they hadn't found yet. And he was one of their most prolific hunters, I guess you could say, at that point. He and Francis. And so basically one of the missions was to get a guy that was actually from a pharmaceutical company, the ones that make the limbic pharmaceuticals. And they were supposed to bring him in. Well, really what it was that Solomon wanted this guy killed, or, he wasn't going to get frozen because he knew too much. And he imparts this knowledge onto Caleb. And he says, now that you know, you're probably going to die too, because they're probably making your buddy an offer to take you out. And so that is what happened there. Dude, if you have watched what I've been watching, what I've been doing this entire time, that's what I do. If you don't like it, there are other channels to go to. So see ya. Bye. So what was going on there was, as I was talking about until I got rudely interrupted by someone, that he ends up finding out that Francis ends up getting an offer to kill him, and he confronts him about this, of course. And this is what I said before. I knew that Caleb had actually ended up offing Francis and had gotten his mind wiped in this whole AR process. But that's what ended up happening, is that Francis got a better offer. Caleb actually ends up getting an offer as well to kill him. And there we go. That's what ends up happening. He actually ends up killing Francis, and he ends up killing the pharmaceutical guy as well, because the pharmaceutical guy offers him money to let him go as well. But back to what was going on with everything with Dolores and Caleb at the facility, and Maeve showing up as well. And Maeve just basically taken out. She's going after Dolores hard at this point. And Dolores says that she'll buy Solomon time in order to come up with the new plan, the new world order, if you will, and give it to Caleb. And she and Maeve fight. And it's a dirty fight, pretty much. They are both using knives. They're using remote guns. Maeve using a remote gunship. Dolores using a remote gun itself. And then it's amazing. I mean, they did a really good job of this. And it ends up, of course, with Dolores getting her arm blown off, crawling back into where Solomon is. And Caleb's pissed off. He wants to kill Sarek and ask Solomon how he can kill his creator, of course, Sarek. And, basically Solomon comes up with that plan. And we don't know what plan actually is on the drive now. We don't know if it's the plan that Dolores wanted or if it's the plan that Caleb wanted. Because just before Dolores pushes an EMP, Solomon says, "But I must warn you." And that's when Dolores hits the EMP and blanks everything out, including her and Maeve. So, what the fuck, And then we also find out from Bernard. So Bernard, Stubbs, and William are at a gas station, and they're just seeing, the carnage that has ensued from the world, going crazy now at this point. And Bernard tells Stubbs, he goes, "Yeah, Dolores isn't the one that's going to end mankind. It's going to be him, Caleb. Caleb is the one that she's set in motion at this point." And it's kind of her MO, if you really will. She'll only get her hands dirty if she absolutely has to, is what Dolores has been doing. But she manipulates other people into doing her work for her at this point. So what does Caleb actually have on that drive? Does he have the New World Order, or does he just have his revenge ploy? Which I think, if you have watched the trailer for next week's episode, I'm pretty sure he's got the how to kill Sarek instead of the New World Order thing that he's got going on there. And finally, we see Cal with the earpiece that he had in talking to Solomon, saying that it has instructions for him. He's looking down at Dolores's body, and it says, "Hello, Caleb. I have instructions for you." And that's how we leave off the episode. So pretty damn good episode. And there's a lot that went on because, again, there are only 8 episodes this season. So, of course, they had to pack this stuff in as much as possible. And, it's amazing. And I'm going to go back to what Yo dude said here. Why do YouTubers do this thing where they spend 7 minutes summarizing the episode we all just watched? Because that's how I fucking run it through my head. That's how I get things to percolate, how I come up with my ideas, because I just watched it just like you did. And so I'm trying to figure out, basically going through it like I just did helps me think about it a little bit, how I've been doing this all the way around. You take back your facts comment. Michael says, "Do we think there's biblical significance between Solomon and King Solomon?" I don't know for sure. Yeah. What were your facts there? Oh, there we go. I am chilling. Yes. It's just, I've been doing this, for over a year now. Actually, I've been doing it for a lot longer than that, doing it in other places as well. But that is, yes, stream of consciousness. Exactly. And sometimes I come up with ideas. Sometimes I don't. This time around, I don't. That's what happens. So, yeah. Yes. And there has to be some kind of connection between the whole biblical reference thing. And I'm pretty sure it's just mainly because it's the end of mankind kind of stuff. And the writers wanted to be smart about it. And yeah, that's how it came about. So, there we go. That's where we're left with. So, next week is going to be, looks like it's going to be brilliant. There's a lot of firefights going on. and she's getting rebuilt. It looks like Dolores is getting rebuilt, or her old chassis is getting rebuilt. Because if I remember correctly, she the chassis that she was in that she pushed the EMP was something that was reprinted for her. So I'm wondering if Caleb is going to go back to Westworld to go and get her old body, or what's going to happen there, or if he finds her old body someplace else and is going to do that as well. Any predictions on what will happen next week? There we go. Sorry, Matt. I just saw your comment there when I said that. So that's probably one of the things. And well, as we saw at the end of last season, William waking up and in a a future where everything looks like it's dead and has been dead for a while. Is that really the case? Is William? We still don't know if William is actually human. He thinks he is, but I'm still going with the notion that he is actually AI, or robotic, a host, if you will. So, or unless this is the way he's going to become a host, is through this. I don't know. Yeah, so there's a couple of questions that are still burning there, like what's going on with William? Uh, how does Dolores get a new body here? And then also she's plugged into something. There was some kind of looked like a fiber optic cable that was plugged into her chest. So I don't know what that's all about. And then of course Maeve. Is Maeve going to be reprinted? Is she done at this point? Because Sarek only gave her the one chance to do this. Otherwise, she was going to be put in, Warworld over and over and over again. So yeah. Show is so convoluted, but liked. No, it's not convoluted. It's just it brings up a lot of questions. It does a little bit of mystery box. It doesn't do it to the point that J.J. Abrams does mystery box. But it does do some mystery box-ing, I should say. And usually mystery box shows fucking irritate the shit out of me. They really do. That's why I couldn't do Castle Rock. Castle Rock was all mystery box. And that one I just like, nope, can't do it. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of loose ends, Cheryl. I agree with you. And they're probably going to be a lot of loose ends by the end of the season. Now that they know that they have a season 4 coming up, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a shitload more loose ends, and then we're going to have to wait another year. Hopefully it's only a year and not 2 years, like we had for this one. Because that was bullshit, waiting 2 years for 8 episodes. If it's going to be a 2-year wait, I'm not going to, I'll probably be done with it at that point. Unless they do something really good for the season finale. They'd have to do something really, really, really good for the season finale. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nolan wants 5 seasons. That's what he did with Person of Interest. Person of Interest, he had a 5-season plan. So, why do you think that viewership has dropped by half on that? People sometimes get tired of the show, man. It's the same thing like Walking Dead. Sometimes it's the same thing over and over and over again, and some people feel that way, and that's usually what happens. It could also be that this season is not the same as the first 2 seasons. The way the first 2 seasons played out, where they, dealt with different timelines and things like that at the same time, and this one did not have it. This was more linear, and this is a more of a I would have to say if season 1 was elegance, if you will, season 2 was some of that elegance mixed in with a little bit of brute force, if you will. Season 3 is all brute force. We're just trying to pound the story through as much as possible, and I can see where that has turned people off and would make people drop watching it, because it's not the same as seasons 1 or 2. And quite honestly, I'm not liking Caleb. He I don't know if it's the actor, I don't know if it's the character or what, but I'm just not into him at this point. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I could see people dropping it as well. Yeah. Yeah, see, I don't know Raymond K. Hessel. Yeah, I'm a heathen, so I don't know what that means. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the weight didn't help either. Exactly, Penn. Yeah. They said 6 seasons? Wow. Yeah, I can see Nolan wanting only 5 seasons on this. It takes a lot out of him, him and Lisa Joy, doing this. I know that they took 2 years off because they wanted to retool it, and since they had such backlash from the end of season 2 from it was a 50-50 split, quite honestly. Half the people liked season 2, half the people didn't like season 2. I liked season 2. So, they probably planned that, Pen. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Oh man. So, what else here? Joker says I think they also have a show coming on Amazon Prime. Oh yeah. Yeah, they do. Based on the numbers, a lot of people didn't like season 2. Yeah, I know. It's a 50-50 split though, still. It's you poll people, it's a 50-50 split. And yeah. It's the same thing like what was the last episode 9? 50-50 split on that one, even though there's a lot. Actually, no, I think it's more of 60-40. 60 didn't like it, 40 did. But if I remember correctly on that one. But anyway, so what else I have going on this week? Tomorrow is going to be the season finale for Dispatches from Elsewhere, the excellent Dispatches from Elsewhere on AMC. Tuesday is going to be Future Man. That's right, the final season of Future Man. And Wednesday and Thursday, I'm off this week. Friday is a double header of Harley Quinn on DC Universe and the Clone Wars on Disney Plus. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off, and then we come back around again to Sunday for the season finale of Westworld. That's right. Yeah, I like the Clementine cameo as well. I wish there's a little bit more of her, but just having that little blurb at the beginning, it was kind of nice. This one actually played out like a movie. I don't know if you guys felt this, but this episode felt longer than just an hour. I actually had to check my clock at one point to make sure that I wasn't running over because I said I was going to do this at 7:15, and then the episode was going to run over to like 7:20 or something like that. And so I actually had to, make sure that was the case. Dude says, I wish Bernard was a character in this show again. You mean the live Bernard? Yeah, there's some stuff that's cut out, and because it's shorter, one, and then also they're not doing the timeline shenanigans that they were doing. So I can see why they cut that out. Honestly, I'm still, I just want a definitive answer as to who's a fucking host and who's human at this point. Because, this is season 3. Tell us whether or not William is human or a host. That's the last one that we need to know. That's really it. For me, that's what, with BS5, the Ronald Moore version of Battlestar Galactica, the whole thing is, are they a Cylon? Are they not a Cylon? That got tiring after a while. It really did. So, yeah. Hopefully they clear that up next week. I doubt they will, but hopefully they will. Jude says a show that used to be so smart it feels cheap that one of the questions is something so basic as are they a host or not? Yeah. Yeah. Again, like I said, this season is more brute force than elegance, and like the first season. Yeah. Joker says they dropped the ball on the Starbuck character. Nah. Just on one little part, the whole miracle thing that happened or whatever. that was just kind of a weird, writing yourself into a corner thing, which happens a lot with Ronald Moore. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go for the day, for the night, the night. I don't know. It's like 80 some odd degrees here still, and it's almost 8 o'clock. And yeah, that's just bad right now. I've got the AC going. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video, and the ranting and the raving and all that other stuff that's there. Hopefully, you, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the little subscribe, the video up here. If you like what's there, hit the subscribe button down below. Like, share, and subscribe. If you still want to know when I'm going to be on next, you can hit the bell. Like I said, it's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. That's got my live stream schedule up there for the week, and also any links to any of my social media. Are lifeguards wearing masks? I don't know. I'm not down at the beach, so I haven't left home because I'm not an idiot. There we go. Yeah, wash your hands, stay at home, all that good stuff. I will see you tomorrow for Dispatches from Elsewhere. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out the drone, a gigantic drone with gunship overhead, that's not letting you get out, which isn't a good thing. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.